the average person lives a life that is in a lot of fucking scarcity right now. There's like, the masses are having a lot of fear, and this energy that's like, it's the crabs in the bucket analogy that we have, where it's the one crab that wants to try and get out. There's all these crabs in the bucket, and those are also your beliefs. Those are also the ideas and thoughts that you have about yourself and your capabilities. They're just being reflected at you from the outside world, but you get to choose what you're actually giving your energy to. Because I got the same crabs in the bucket. I have the same thoughts and beliefs that go on, that tell me that, whatever, I should quit, or maybe it'd be easier to get a job, or whatever. Like, these thoughts still actually sometimes have gone through my head throughout the years, but what I choose to do with them is different than the average person.
Reclamation Era, the podcast where everything changes. It's time to own your voice, your wealth, and own your worth. Your story was never meant to stay quiet. Your voice was meant to rise. Your wealth was meant to expand. You were meant to influence. Welcome to The Threshold.
Bonjour tout le monde! My name is Saber, for those of you who don't know me yet. Just spilled my coffee today, so we poured ourselves another one. Wow, it's been a minute since I actually have come on to share a live video recently, or podcast episode, or anything of this nature, because I tend to do this thing sometimes where I'm building out a really big project right now. We're gearing up for our second annual Empire Convergence, which is the annual event that I host within a castle. I have a vision to buy a castle and turn it into a long-term event center called the Castle of the Unbowed. And we did the first castle event called Reclamation last year, a coronation ceremony. And this is for women who are stepping into leadership, wealth, and the identity of the version of her that really steps into her fullest power. You can hear sirens in the background, by the way. I've got my windows fully open because it's a bright sunny day and Saturday here in Paris. So yeah, you're just going to hear that in the background. It's just a story of my life. But I've been on the back end really brewing up the production of this event. So the Castle of the Unbowed is the castle that's going to be there for transformative events, for mystery schools, think of like bridging Burning Man and like high-end entrepreneurship conferences and visionary contribution to the world, teaching kids financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and supporting the animals, supporting people experiencing plant medicine for their healing, for their alternative rehab uses. This is like a really big vision that I have that I'm building within this castle that we're going to be having within Europe. So right now we're doing 5 annual castle events. This year is the second one. It's called Imperia. Imperia comes from the Latin Greek root word imperium, which is the masculine version of the right to reclaim authority, the right to lead, the right to self-agency. So it's really exciting. It is a all women's event, and I've been doing that. So I have not really actually been on the forefront sharing my message and sharing what's coming through from my heart, even though there's been so much, but I felt like today was the right time for it. Mia says, long for partnership or collaboration. Girl, message me. I'm always open for partnership and collaboration. Let's talk about that. Today, I wanted to actually come on here and share something really near and dear to my heart, because I had a couple messages in my inbox today. I work with so many women who are wanting to create more wealth for themselves. I do high-ticket affiliate marketing. I've been doing it for the past 6.5 years. And a lot of people, they'll partner into this space when they're in their next version of their reclamation, where it's like they're ready to not rely on a job, not rely on a partner, not rely on the breadcrumbs of a broken system that was never really designed for them to thrive. And They have the desire. They want to live in abundance and peace and expansion. But this alone, my dears, I want to tell you, is not clear enough for you to actually go and execute what it is that it requires to build financial freedom, to build freedom. Today, I live in a beautiful home in Paris, France, and I spend my days doing whatever I want, like really waking up when I want, not having to answer anybody, building my truest, deepest passion projects like this castle event and a music video we're going to be filming on site there. And this is all created because I chose a entrepreneurship path, a business vehicle where I didn't have to be the bottleneck of my business building something from the ground up, but I also came in with a full fucking fire. So those of you who don't know my story, I do have earlier podcast episodes where I talk about more of my story, but ultimately I just want to share that I'm not someone that comes from money. People might look at me and go, oh my God, she's so confident, she's so expressed, she is so expressive and confident in how she speaks and public speaking and these kinds of things. And I just want to let you know that I come on here and just turn on a video to go live, right? And express my heart and share what I have to share because I've been doing that and showing up over and over and over and over for the last almost 7 years, building my personal brand online when I had no fucking skill sets. And I started this business when I was living in a bus, telling myself the narrative that it's expensive to live in California. I couldn't afford rent in California. I was a college dropout, emancipated foster youth, full-time artist. And I knew that I wanted to create something different in my life. But at the end of the day, everything that I was doing, it kept feeling like life was just handing it to me. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you do this where you're striving, you're going for what it is that you want in your life, but you just feel like nothing's actually fucking working. And yes, I have found a business vehicle that's allowed me to have the potential and the roadmap. Okay, the roadmap was fucking important, right? Like the business model that was actually going to pay me and actually going to pay me on dividends. I get paid now on the work that I've done years before. My passive income, my leveraged income is not the amount that I would love it to be because I'm continuing to grow and expand. But I can guarantee you in the next 5 years, I'm going to be saying the same damn thing. But what I can tell you is the roadmap is one thing, but it doesn't matter what roadmap or business model that it is. If you are not in the space where you are super fucking clear on what it is that you want to create in your life, then you're going to always be subject to what willpower you have for the day, what motivation you have for the day. And I really wanted to speak about this because the clarity and the vision that I have created, I was speaking on the phone with my aunt the other day, and, bless her heart, I love my aunt, I love my family, but they're not living the lives that I want to live. And she tells me sometimes that I shouldn't be putting dates on my goals or shouldn't be putting pressure on myself. And I'm like, but Aunt Rhonda, her name's Rhonda, I'm like, diamonds grow under pressure. Like truly, diamonds are formed and forged and created under pressure. Like we have to actually have specificity in what we're creating in our life and have deadlines in it, because it will move us towards, it's like our North Star that moves us towards doing what we need to do. So when I found this business model, I was like, oh my God, I don't have a social media following. I've never done a live video on camera before. Like I'm scared shitless of doing that. I just started getting comfortable doing modeling. So you can hear my windows smashing from the wind. I'm in this penthouse, so there's a beautiful breeze, but it's going to smash windows in the background. I just had moved over being able to even be comfortable on camera doing modeling because I had an eating disorder for 16 years. I had so much self-loathing that I had to work through, even just to be able to look in a camera, know the camera is going to be documenting a still image of me that I had a hard time even just looking at it constantly, my own image in the mirror for all my life. And so that was a really, really big thing to move through. And then eventually got into performing arts. And I've always been called to these kinds of things because I was like, wow, that seems so fucking scary. But the people that I saw doing it had this light, this vitality, and this energy to it that was so bold and so unapologetic. I was like, I have to have that. Like, I literally felt this life force energy through me when I saw my first performing artist that was it was actually fire dancing that I saw and that I got into before I even tried my first dance class. Okay, like, I'm not someone who grew up dancing since I was very, very young. Me and my mom didn't have enough fucking money for that. Okay, like, and my school that I grew up in Clear Lake, California. If you know, you know, very poor town. We even our electives of like our art class, just for the money for papers and pens and paints and shit, it's like they were like cutting that. So we didn't have a lot of these kinds of things that I was doing when I was growing up. So when I became an adult, I started to push myself in these ways where I was always leaning towards the expression, because ultimately I wanted freedom. And what it really came down to was I had to also understand that money was a part of that freedom. And I needed to be able to look at, like, when I found affiliate marketing, for instance, I was like, okay, cool. Like, even though I don't have these skill sets or this background or this experience yet, I know that whatever I put my mind to, I can do. Whatever it is, right? We get taught these skill sets in school. People go to whole degrees and get a whole mountain of debt to go be a expert in their field for something that is building somebody else's dreams, where they have to ask permission to even get any time off or whatever it is that they have in their life, and then hopefully be able to have enough to actually live abroad and do the things that they want in their retirement when they're 60, or they're, I don't know about you, I don't want to be traveling the world when I'm 60. I want to be like chilling. And so if people can sign themselves up to that, why wouldn't I be able to create something in the online space? Well, here's the naysaying that a lot of people get. First of all, they'll read something on the internet, okay? They'll be like, oh my God, like if it's a company, right? I am in an affiliate marketing company. There's a lot of stigma in the network marketing, affiliate marketing industry, where people are like, or they think like very uneducated. It's very like, oh, it's a pyramid scheme. Nobody's successful at it. You're scamming people. All this weird shit that's honestly just projections, and from people who haven't even actually gone out and created anything for themselves, let alone in this own industry. And unfortunately, people will take that advice versus the person who actually has the life that they want. And that to me is really, really sad, because I want to tell you that I am not somebody that is any different than you. I know you may look at me and be like, yeah, but Saber, like, you do your eyeliner so great in this way, or like you live in this beautiful Paris support, whatever the fuck. I want to tell you that the version of me that you are looking at right now is a version of you that you know is possible for you, because we are all reflections of each other. And if you look at somebody who is in their victim story, who is in their, oh, I tried this thing, but it didn't work out, or whatever the fuck, and then you identify, you will choose to either identify with the reflection of their failures that project your failures on yourself and what you judge yourself for that, or you would look at people who are successful and you can choose to be like, wow, I see there are pieces of this person's identity that I see in myself. Like, I've always been a self-leader in myself. Yeah, I've always really been the one that's I've showed up on time. I've always shown up. I did the good grades. I fucking, I was always relentless. I'm a fucking warrior. Like, you can identify with one or the two. And it really makes me so sad. I'm telling you. It's heartbreaking when I hear people that reach out to me and they say, oh my God, like, I really want to have a different life. I have just been used and abused in the traditional workforce, and I know there's something so much more meant for me. These are the things that I went through growing up. I want to create something different, especially for my children, my now children, or my future children. I want them to see something different. And then they see something different, And then they choose to identify with this old pattern, these old stories, like the version of themselves that continues to loop that reality and that narrative. But they say they want to be the cycle breaker. They say they want to be the chain breaker. And it starts with you. But once it gets to you and you get to choose, it makes me so fucking sad where people just want to go with the masses and go with the data, go with the statistics or whatever. Do you know what? I grew up in foster care. I went to 14 different homes from when I was 12 to... Excuse me, honey. You're in my footway. Prince Ali is at my feet. I went to 14 different homes from when I was 12 to 15 years old. I ran away from a group home. I got addicted to methamphetamines. I experienced sexual abuse and being held hostage by someone that was a neighbor of mine that literally groomed me my entire life, to then when I was 14 and then on the run, it kind of became this whole thing. I had to deal with a whole lot. And then my mother passed. My mother passed when I was 16. I came back from being on the run and back from this whole sexual assaults, like drug addiction, runaway, crazy discourse, to coming back to foster care, thinking I was gonna, get my life together and then come back to my mom and build something different with my mother. But then she passed. She took her life. And I share this with you because I have had to go through so many fucking shit in my life to get to where I am here. And it would have been it was so close to being easy to actually looking at what was possible when I started looking at how do I make money online? Like, how do I actually become successful? How do I actually create more for myself? And once I found people that actually resonated with me, that I saw that version of myself in them, it was very easy for me to say that it wouldn't work for me because of all of these things in the past. It was very, very easy, especially because they will tell you up the hoo-ha that people that come from a background like mine will repeat the cycle. Break the pattern or will repeat itself again, right? This is some real shit. And I share this with you because I'm just somebody that had a fucking fire in her belly, like truly. And it's because I have a North Star. It's because I am just, first of all, I had to get clear on what I was not willing to settle for anymore. I was not willing to settle for being in a position where I had no time for myself, for my community, for my health. I feel like my cat is locked in the bathroom. Hold on. 1 second. He's going to be crying for lead. 1 second. Yes. I'm telling you, the wind in this apartment, it closes all these doors, including the bathroom door where he was hanging out. What the fuck was I saying? Gosh damn it, Kitty. Anyway, the whole point of what I'm really wanting to convey here is I was not willing, that's where I was. I was just not willing to settle for, oh my goodness, maybe we could edit that out. I feel like I got a fur in my mouth. Maybe we don't edit it out, hey? I know you were laughing right now. Thanks for laughing with me, because I think this is actually the perfect place to really share that you don't actually have to be perfect, okay? So first of all, I had to get fucking clear about what I was no longer willing to settle for. And I did not want to settle for, first of all, I dropped out of college because I was like, dude, I need to not be forcing myself to do something that is so freaking out of alignment with my passions, what I actually desire for my life. And so I cut that off. I cut it off fully cold turkey. I dropped out of college without a plan. I literally bought a van without a plan, okay? I bought a van without a plan. I had this boyfriend at the time build me a fucking bed frame thing that lifted up so I could put storage under it. And I was like, cool, I got shelves, I got a bed, I got a van, I've got some financial aid. And I was like, I dropped out and I was like, I'm just going to take this, I'm going to figure it out. I'm good with my hands. what other things can I do? I started literally doing massage, you guys, with a chair. I bought a chair, massage chair for like $25 on Craigslist from some person. I carried that shit. I put it out. I put a sign on, said $1 a minute massage. I did not have a massage license. I took this to events. I went to free events. I went to paid events. I put a fucking blanket out. I had made all these different things like earrings, and I started dating this guy that was very into herbalism and medicinal mushrooms. We started making tinctures, and then eventually I created a booth that was called Bless is More Medicine Magic. And so I was like, okay, cool. I am literally creating things that are aligned with my passions. There I was, not being the same place that I was in school, but then there was another line in the sand where I had to really recognize that I was no longer willing to actually settle for being so fucking burnt at both ends of the stick, because I had just done in 2019 26 events back to back to back, and I was like, yeah, I'm successful. I got all these gigs. I got people buying from me, you know, like people walk by, they get massages. Now I got someone else doing massage in my booth and I'm earning commission. Like, you know what I mean? Like there was this whole orchestra going on with these things. And, yeah, at the end of the day, I knew that I was still, so I had upgraded to a bus at the time. I was like, damn, I had literally made up to $30,000 in a single weekend. I was like, I thought it was hot shit. I had a $15,000 bus that most of the people I had around my life at the time, they could not even afford like a $5,000 used car on Craigslist, let alone a $15,000 bus. So I was over here like, okay, I can do these things. I can do these things because I knew how to get resourceful. I knew how to get resourceful. I literally dropped out of college and went into a van without a plan and just made shit with my hands and figured out all of these aspects of what I could actually do to make money. But then when it came down to it, I knew I wanted to get into digital marketing because I was working harder and harder and harder and harder, not very smart. Harder and harder and harder and harder. And you know, that 30 grand that I made in a single weekend, that was epic. But guess where it all went? Back to my business. I started hiring people. I started buying more inventory. It was just like more. And this was where I realized, I was like, wow, I still feel like I can't afford rent in California. As a full-time artist, just a college dropout and emancipated foster youth, I was like, holy heavens to Betsy. So when I saw digital marketing and I saw, it literally felt too good to be true. I'm not gonna lie, it definitely feels too good to be true, right? When you're so used to having things be so fucking hard, and when you've witnessed this in your parents, I mean, God, my mom literally took her life because she just could not hold the weight of the world. I remember she would shake this money tree. Before she'd go to the casino, she'd be like, sometimes she would win money at this casino actually, so it was like I would see these like random wins, and she would also say though that money doesn't grow on trees, and so she was like doing all this hustle things. And you know, I witnessed this. I know you witnessed other things in your parents and your family, and think of that, right? What is it that you have been told about money? And now look at the people who are creating success in their lives. Do you know what? Their families probably also told them the same thing, but they decided to change the narrative. So I was sitting here like, okay, so I have a business that I created some kind of success with back when I was living in a bus life, doing all these festivals. And I was like, I still don't feel like I have the money to pay rent. Like I just was like, what the fuck? And when I found digital marketing, I had to really challenge my belief, first and foremost, about myself, what I was capable of, what I was creating. And I had to get really honest with myself. I'm like, okay, if I continued trying the way that I've been trying for another 10 years, I stretched it out 10 years. At the time I was 25. It's like 10 years. When I'm 35, all right, yeah, I think I will definitely be able to, for sure, have, you know, more employees, a team, and these kinds of things. But I was so fucking exhausted juggling it all together. I was like, I don't know if I really want to build a business. I'm like, maybe this is actually better just to go to school, because I was like, I'm still going to feel like I have to hold the fort. And I was like, fuck this. I want to go into digital marketing where those motherfuckers are making 30K, 50K, 100K plus a month, working 4-hour work weeks. Okay? This is a thing. It is not a thing that starts right away. But I saw that people were doing this, like making this passive income on autopilot. And I'm like, there's no way I can do that working a job or making my own products, period. So I was like, well, what do I actually have to believe about myself to make this a reality? And I just had to gather evidence of how I've actually done amazing things in my life. And I was like, if I just put myself in the right environment with the right business model, that my efforts are actually going to pay me in the way that I know my potential can rise, that can hold the capacity of my potential, I'm going to win. I just needed to find what that model was. For me, that was the space, because I found the person I found it from. She actually is a sound healer. She was an interior designer, also a fire dancer, also a former festival vendor. So I was like, damn, these are my people. They weren't like pudgy white fat dudes just talking about making money online, doing these random things like selling dog food on e-commerce or something. And no hate against that, to be honest, but it's not for me. I was like, cool, I can make really great money online doing a lot of different things. I can see that, but I needed something that in 10 years from now, that I could feel that I made a genuine impact and that I can expand in the way that I really want for my life. And impact has always been really important to me. Growing up in foster care, when I started to get into that emancipation phase, I emancipated when I was 17, just meaning that you leave earlier than you're 18, which I'm so grateful that I did that. It was because they saw that I was really developing these foundational skills that I needed to be able to go out in the world, which was, one of them was helping kids apply for their financial aid when they were going into college, or teaching them yoga and mindfulness that was in the youth groups. I wanted to actually share in AA and NA meetings my story of addiction, and also my mother's story, and just share my story, especially to those who are in foster care. And I was like, I know my story is going to really support the person who is in that emancipating phase as well, so they can go on and become adults and know that they don't have to actually become another statistic. That was something that I was like, I had on the top of my head when I was emancipating from foster care. And then when I came into becoming an adult and trying to figure out this entrepreneurship thing, when I found this space and saw that I could monetize my personal brand of just who I am and have my story be the product, my story be what actually connects with people and has them not be an influencer. Okay, I don't have millions of followers. I literally made 6 figures in this space before having 300 followers on Instagram. But being someone that can be the permission slip for somebody to actually create a different narrative in their story. And that's what we do here. If you want to call that recruiting, great. I love it. I'm fucking grateful somebody recruited me to a different life. Because guess what? I would probably be on the streets right now. No lie. I did not expect COVID to happen. If COVID happened and I did not have another plan outside of vending at festivals, which clearly wasn't happening in 2020, I would probably have just gone straight to a hippie farm and lived off bare minimum, and not been able to really give myself the resources to really take care of myself or do anything really out of a very small bubble. And I do want to eventually have a off-grid permaculture farm and these kinds of things, but not in a way where I'm like living off the bare fucking minimum, okay? Like, no. Now we're on Castle Visions, because what I've stepped into here is something that literally allows people to create generational wealth, which is something that when I saw that, when the too good to be true bells came off, I also saw people who had built this even from third world countries. And I was like, wow, what other better place could I actually go into where I can actually start to learn the skill sets to tell people a different pathway and learn how to enroll people into a vision of true freedom and sovereignty, and not just talk about it like a lot of these hippies do. Like, no shame if you're a hippie. I'm a hippie at heart, okay? Like, I got organic oat milk in my coffee. I'm just kidding. No, really though, I was a hippie, like living in my bus and making tinctures and really like connected in this beautiful way that opened me up to, it was just from my awakening of really recognizing that we are in harmony with the life and with life and with the earth and with energy. But the thing is, I hit a plateau with that of like, okay, we need to ground this in though, because for us to really actually access our fullest, enlightened, whatever you want to call it, the highest version of ourselves, we do need to actually master the fucking game of what we're doing here in the 3D in planet Earth. And money is a direct correlation to how you can actually access that and your power. And so fuck it. I was like, oh my God. So that means I need to learn how to make money. Smarter, not harder, in a way that impacts others, that in a way that supports something in the long term, so that I can create something radically different. And hey, I'm 31 now. I had no idea I was ever going to be living in Europe or Paris. Like, it literally, even traveling to Europe wasn't even on the fucking radar when I started this business. It literally was like, I need to not have my gas tank on E. I was just in survival mode. But now I really speak to women from this space of, look, it doesn't matter where you're actually at, but you need to be the one that is willing to do something differently. And if you're going to be the kind of person that, I don't know, looks up online, for instance, how successful people are in whatever industry or whatever company or whatever, with whatever modality, and you decide to take all of those naysayers and have that be your potential, then where is that going to get you? When you look at the world and the average result and the average person and what they're actually living, there's over 60+% of people just in America alone that are living paycheck to paycheck. Is that the life that you want? Or do you want the life of the people who are the 1%, which actually that 1% is actually growing bigger now that we have access to social media and online digital marketing things. There are more millionaires being born than ever in history. Or do you want to start thinking like that? So even if you didn't become that top 1% and throughout the lifetime, what if you actually became at least the top 20% or the top 30%, right? That could actually fucking create some things in their life. That could actually buy a home in full, for instance, and not have to be put towards a mortgage, which literally in etymology means death pledge, a mortgage. Did you know that? The average person lives a life that is in a lot of fucking scarcity right now. There's like, the masses are having a lot of fear and this energy that's like, it's the crabs in the bucket analogy that we have, where it's the one crab that wants to try and get out. There's all these crabs in the bucket, and those are also your beliefs. Those are also the ideas and thoughts that you have about yourself and your capabilities. They're just being reflected at you from the outside world, but you get to choose what you're actually giving your energy to. Because I got the same crabs in the bucket. I have the same thoughts and beliefs that go on that tell me that, you know, whatever, I should quit, or maybe it'd be easier to get a job or whatever. Like, these thoughts still actually sometimes have gone through my head throughout the years. But what I choose to do with them is different than the average person. And the kind of women that create success in whatever industry, whatever industry, whether it's affiliate marketing, coaching, real estate, being an artist, being an author, whatever it is the person who goes in and makes a decision following her own true North Star and her own inner guidance, and knows that whatever she puts her mind to, she fucking creates in her life. But you do have to have support. You do have to have the right type of infrastructure that holds you. You do need to have systems and things like this that work on the back end, so you're not holding the fort like I was when I was a solo entrepreneur being an artist. And that's why what I do is so fucking powerful for even the average person who's willing to stop telling the average narrative and wants to create a different life, where you get to plug into something that is already proven to work and convert. It is already something that has stood the test of time for over 50 years. Over 50 years, Enagic has actually been around. That's one of the companies that I partner with, the main wellness technology that I partner with. They've gone through many recessions. They've gone through the ups and downs. So you can go create your own business and see, maybe it will stand the test of time. Most businesses fail within 3 to 5 years, right? Because they go on and they don't know how it's going to actually be within the market. Just like how mine was when I was an artist and I started actually rippling out and it started being successful in a way, but then lockdowns happened. I didn't expect that, and a lot of us didn't as artists, right? I don't think anybody did. But this, whoop, there you go, there's the windows clapping again, right when I was clapping. This is something that will allow you to fast track that, and it is fucking possible for you. Allow me to be the permission slip for you, and I'm not even like that big of a deal at all. Like, seriously, I'm literally not, because there's so many people who have come here and have blown things out of the water in third world countries with kids and being solo moms and like just not even having any close to the privilege that even I have, even as a foster youth. Like, it is so powerful, ladies. So I just want to just tell you that you are so much more powerful than you give yourself credit to. And stop fucking giving your power away to any outside validation or any fucking nincompoops that go and try something and they don't actually even give it your all. If you know you're someone who gives it their all, know that whatever you desire in life belongs to you. You just need to make the decision to go out and get it, okay? That's it. That's literally it. And that's all I do every single day. This is the only difference. That's it. So which one will you choose? That is the real question. All right. That is all for me. From me. I trust that this really serves whatever mission, vision you're going after, whether you choose to partner with me, explore what we do here in this community, or if this just gave you more fire for what you want to create in your life in general. Go out and fucking get it. Like, you've got it in you. You've got it. You don't need anyone to actually show you any other proof, because what matters the most is the proof that you give yourself every day when you go to sleep. And you actually can tell yourself whether you actually gave yourself an authentic try and shot for what you have to create every single day. And know that those results don't really show up right away, right? It's like if you go to the gym. You can't just go to the gym and do a fucking plank for a minute and be like, why is it not working? Why don't I have abs yet? You got to be in it for the long game. So marry it. Marry the game. Is that what 50 Cent says? No, seriously. Like, marry the motherfucking game, because living a life obsessed is so much better than living a life distressed. Wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for listening to this. So cheesy. Thank you so much for listening. I just want to tell you, I don't even know the amounts of people that really listened to this podcast, but I would love to hear what resonates for you in what I have to share in these episodes. And if you have any particular questions or topics that you want me to talk about, I'm all ears to see what that may be of interest for you. And yeah, at the end of the day, this is something I'm deeply devoted and committed to, is to just remind you of your motherfucking power. So let's go. Au revoir and a bientôt.
Thank you for your continued presence within the Reclamation Era podcast. If you loved this episode, subscribe and leave a review, because at the end of the day, the more people we can empower in this world to empower themselves, the better. And if at any point you feel called to explore the global legacy pathway I've chosen to own my voice, wealth, and worth,
My signature masterclass is in the show notes. As above, so below. See you next time.